Today, we're going to watch something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction happen in the real world, turning a barren desert into lush, green farmland. It's an incredible story about human ambition, and it's all being watched from hundreds of kilometers up in space. So let's dive in. Just think about that question for a second. How do you actually do that? You're taking one of the most empty, inhospitable landscapes on our planet and trying to make it grow food. It's one of the biggest challenges we face if we want to feed a growing population. And it's the puzzle we're going to unpack today. Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start on the ground in Egypt, looking at this absolutely massive desert project. Then we'll blast off into orbit to meet the satellites that are watching over it. We'll get into the secret of how they can actually see plant health from space. And then, this is the fun part, we'll use that secret to watch the desert bloom right before our eyes. And finally, we'll tie it all together and talk about why this matters so much for all of us. Right, so our journey begins in Egypt. It's a country whose entire history has been shaped by one single river, the Nile. But its future? Well, that depends on the enormous desert that surrounds it. For thousands of years, life in Egypt has been packed into this very thin, fertile ribbon of land right along the Nile. It's like a lifeline in a giant sea of sand. But with over 100 million people living there now, that lifeline is getting pretty crowded. To feed everyone in the future, Egypt needs more land to farm on. A lot more. And this is their answer. It's called the New Delta Project, and it is a breathtakingly huge plan to grab a giant piece of the Western Desert and literally turn it into brand new farmland. But think about it. How do you even manage a project that big? How do you even know if it's actually working? Well, to get those answers, you need to get a much, much higher point of view. So we've got to leave the ground and head up into orbit to meet the planet's watchtowers. So say hello to the Copernicus program. The best way to think about this is like a public library for planet Earth, and it's run by Europe. It has all these satellites constantly taking our planet's pulse, measuring everything. And the most amazing part? All of that data is free and open for anyone to use with tools like the EO browser. For what we're doing today, two of these satellites are really important. You've got Sentinel-1, which uses radar. That's super cool because it can see right through clouds, day or night, to map out the land. But the real hero of our story today is Sentinel-2. You can just think of it as a super-powered camera in space that's been designed for one special job: to watch plants. Okay, now this is where things get really, really cool. Sentinel-2 doesn't just take pictures like a normal camera. It basically has a superpower. It can see the world in types of light that are completely invisible to our eyes. You and I, we see the world in red, green, and blue. But these satellites, they see it in really specific slices of light. We call them spectral bands. And the most important slice for checking on plants is one we can't see at all. It's called near-infrared, or NIR for short. And here is how that superpower actually works. Healthy plants are basically masters at playing with light. The chlorophyll in their leaves just gobbles up red light to power photosynthesis. But at the exact same time, the physical structure inside their leaves acts like a bunch of tiny mirrors, reflecting a ton of that near-infrared light. So that's the secret. A really healthy plant is dark in red light, but super bright in near-infrared light. And an unhealthy plant? Well, it's the other way around. So the satellite has these two key pieces of information: how much red light and how much near-infrared light. But how do we take that raw data and turn it into something simple, something that just tells us, hey, this plant is healthy? Well, for that, we use a special index. It's called the NDVI, which stands for Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. Now, don't worry about the long name, because the idea behind it is incredibly simple. All the satellite does is measure the near-infrared light bouncing off the ground, it measures the red light, and then it just compares the two. That's really it. It's just a simple comparison. So what does that simple comparison actually show us? Well, for something like bare rock or sand, the red and near-infrared values are pretty similar, so you get a low NDVI score. But for a field of really lush, healthy crops that are reflecting tons of NIR, you get a very high NDVI score. And then we can color-code it all to make a map. Low scores look brown or red, and high scores become this beautiful, vibrant green. All right, enough theory. We've got the science down. Now it's time for the payoff. Let's use Sentinel-2 and the power of NDVI to actually go back in time and watch the New Delta project literally spring to life. Okay, let's set the time machine to 2017. This is what the new Delta project area looked like back then. In true color, this is exactly what you would have seen with your own eyes if you were in orbit. It's just sand, rock. It's a completely blank canvas. Now, let's jump forward to today. Just look at that change. It's incredible. Where there was nothing but sand, you can now see the sharp, geometric shapes of farms, those iconic green circles from the center pivot irrigation systems. I mean, the project is obviously happening, but the question is, just how healthy is all that new green? And this is the magic moment. This is the exact same view from today, but now we're seeing it with the satellite's superpower. We're looking at the NDVI view. And those deep, vibrant greens you're seeing, they aren't just pretty colors on a map. They are data. They represent dense, healthy, thriving plants. This is it. We are literally watching the desert bloom from space. Now, as amazing as that is to see, this is so much more than just a cool visual trick. This technology has some really profound implications for how we manage our entire planet. You know, this kind of view from space empowers people at every level. A farmer can use it to know exactly where to put water and fertilizer instead of just guessing. A project manager can see almost in real time if their project is working. And governments can make much smarter decisions about how to ensure we all have enough food to eat. It's not just data. It's a tool for a more sustainable and secure future. This technology gives us a totally new perspective on the world, a way to monitor the health of our entire planet from above. And it really leaves you with a pretty big question. If we can sit here and watch a farm grow in the middle of a desert from space, what other huge global challenges, things like deforestation or water security, could we finally start to solve now that we have a much, much better view?